Alright, Ronan MMA, welcome back to the channel. Let's get this recap and review out of the way for UFC Fight Night Aspinall vs. Tybura, which wrapped up yesterday afternoon, for my time anyways, so that we can get to UFC 291 content for the rest of the week, which is one of the most stacked cards of the year. I did pretty well on picks on this fight night. I think it was 11-4 in total. Now, one of them was gifted to me, and we will get to that in a minute. We are going to start with the first fight of the night as usual and work our way up. Before we get into it, like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. First fight of the night, FILHO versus Daniel BAREZ. I picked FILHO to win. I said that he would submit him. I thought it would be a little bit easier for him. However, there was some early adversity. But it seems that Daniel BAREZ perhaps was a little bit disheartened by the fact that FILHO was able to eat all of his biggest shots and just keep coming forward. He hit him with crazy body kicks. Every time he clipped him to the head, it would like rock him essentially. You could see big reactions coming out of FILHO every time BAREZ connected. But as I spoke about in the picks and preview video, Daniel BAREZ is used to fighting guys with records that are like 10-9, 7-9, things like this. And I would imagine that when you're fighting dudes with those kind of records, when you hit them with those shots, they probably fold. FILHO did not fold. He kept marching forward. He started landing some big shots of his own on the feet, eventually got the takedown, and then found the submission with the arm triangle. He like started the setup for it as soon as they hit the mat. Daniel BAREZ had almost no defense for it whatsoever. It was beautiful stuff from FILHO. Way to fight back from adversity. Great performance by him. And yeah, man, good fight, good performance. Moving on up to BANNON versus Brazil. This fight was a little lackluster. I picked, Brazil to win. I said that I didn't think there would be a finish because it's women's MMA. But BANNON, clearly a little overhyped. It's kind of funny when you see a girl who has a bunch of hype behind her come in and fight one girl in the UFC who's like not even ranked and not be able to do a whole lot. I know there are some people that were arguing that BANNON maybe should have gotten the win, but I just found that her shots were not really doing a whole lot of damage, whereas Brazil was actually sitting down on some punches and hitting her with some harder shots relative to what BANNON was hitting her with. BANNON kept going back to that front leg side kick, which, if done correctly, okay, can be a very useful tool, right? We see Stephen Wonderboy Thompson use it almost as like a jab. It's like a way to keep distance. It's a way to find your distance. And when you're quick and explosive with it, with very little tell, the way that Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is, it's a very useful tool. BANNON, on the other hand, though, had quite a lot of tell. It was not fast nor explosive. And you could tell, especially on the ones that she missed, that would not even, like, put a fucking wrinkle in a heavy bag, okay? So, you know, maybe she should work on her boxing a little bit. It was funny, too. The commentary team mentioned something about her taking the hard road to get there, and I just thought, what the fuck? First of all, she's 5-0 as a pro. Okay, she's got 5 professional fights, and she's in the UFC. Not only that, she has a good chunk of amateur fights, fighting girls with 1-2, 1-1, making their debut. Like, she hasn't been fighting hard chicks to get her way to the UFC, and it showed, okay, in my opinion anyways. But it was a pretty lackluster fight either way. But whatever, dude. It is what it is. Moving on up to Chris Duncan versus ASHMOUZ. Okay, Chris Duncan clearly made some improvements. His striking looks much better than it did previously. And obviously, it's a little unfortunate that ASHMOUZ had his arm maybe broken. I don't know. We haven't seen an X-ray yet, but damaged in the first round to the point where he could no longer use it, right? He was essentially after that winging right hands. Now, that guy's tough as fucking nails. He would not stop coming, and even in the final 15 seconds throwing that flying knee, shit like that. Dude was trying to win the entire time. It's a little unfortunate that Chris Duncan could not get him out of there, especially considering he did have one arm, but, you know, the guy's tough, so it is what it is, dude. And why should Chris Duncan go and put himself in danger when he is putting on a fucking clinic with or without the finish? You know what I mean? Like, that was a very good performance by Chris Duncan. He much improved. And it's hard to pick, like, when you get a guy who maybe not extremely young in age, but relatively young in their career, it's hard to imagine what improvements they can make. Like, it's hard to see them before you actually see them. And I think that might have been a knock on my pick here. I didn't really take into account that Chris Duncan did change camps. He would probably making big improvements. I just didn't think they would look like that. Now, great performance by him. Good fight overall, too. Credit to ASHMOUZ for sticking in there and trying to win, even with an injured arm. It also looked like he had a pretty fucking gnarly staph infection. I don't know if I'm reading into things a little bit too much, but he had a pretty nasty red lump on his right pectoral there, and I saw it right away. I thought perhaps he had staph, and he looked a little out of it even before the broken arm, so perhaps that was weighing on him a little bit. Moving on up to Ketlen Vieira versus PIANZAD. I am not going to spend a whole lot of time on this fight. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, I said it would be a long, drawn-out decision, and that it was. I picked Ketlen Vieira to win. She got the job done. Whatever, dude. It is what it is. Moving on up to MURADOV versus BARBERENA. Okay, dude. This one I want to talk about a little bit. I was trying not to go too hard on BARBERENA in the picks and preview. I did say that he would probably get out-grappled. I thought he would get finished, but he didn't. So, I said that. I thought it was strange he was moving up to middleweight, considering he never really looked like a giant fucking welterweight, and now we see why, dude. This man, BARBERENA, if he were to go to a doctor's office right now, and they were to take a look at his overall weight and his body fat percentage, that man's fucking obese, okay? No excuses. You're a professional fighter, okay? You moved up a weight class 15 fucking pounds. Why? Because you gained 15 pounds in fat? I know that he never really had the best physique before. Like, he ain't winning no fucking bodybuilding competitions. But this guy looked like shit, physically speaking, okay? And again, I'm not trying to be a dick, right? But, like, I'm tighter everywhere, and I'm not a professional fighter. What the fuck are you doing, dude? He literally just looked like he's been fucking eating horrible fast food for the last 3 months and then thought, you know what? Instead of losing the weight, I'll just move up to 185. Now, to be fair, MURADOV showed us that he is not as dominant as I thought he would be, because when you get a guy who moved up from lightweight and RDA go out there and fucking manhandle BARBERENA, submit him with relative ease. You get a guy like Gunnar Nelson, who is very lean for 170, go out there, ragdoll BARBERENA, and submit him with relative ease. And then you get a giant monster in MURADOV unable to do so. It was a little strange. It was a decent fight overall. Good performance by Makhmud. He basically won with takedowns, because it wasn't like he did an awful lot of damage. But we knew that BARBERENA struggles in the grappling realm, and he showed it last night. So good performance by MURADOV. BARBERENA, fucking get on a diet, dude. Okay? Go run. Like, what the fuck? There's no way that with that body, you should be at... he looks worse than Kelvin Gastelum did when Kelvin Gastelum eventually moved up because he didn't want to fucking lose any weight. Like, it's just brutal, man. You're not a heavyweight, bro. Lose some weight, all right? Now, no disrespect to anybody out there if you have a similar physique to BARBERENA, but it is what it is, dude. He's a professional fighter. Moving on up to... I just completely fucked up. Uno momento, please. Let me get back to the place I need to be. All right. PARCKIN versus Jamal Pogues. I picked PARCKIN to win. I said that Jamal Pogues hasn't really impressed me in any way, right? Like, his grappling is okay, but he doesn't do an awful lot with it. His striking is not great, and PARCKIN was able to basically just land more and land more effectively also, like bigger shots. I wish that PARCKIN maybe was sitting down on his punches a little bit more like he did in the last minute of that third round there, but it was a good performance, especially for a debut, and Jamal Pogues needs to just hustle a little bit more, because once you realize, I thought that PARCKIN would be able to knock Jamal Pogues out, because PARCKIN's got a whole lot of finishes on his record, despite not having that many fights overall, but, you know, he finishes a lot of guys. I think all of his wins have been by finish thus far up until this point. Once you realize, like, a guy's not fucking knocking you down every time he touches you, like, maybe go for it a little bit, you know what I mean? No, it was a fun fight overall, so whatever, it is what it is, but it was a good performance by PARCKIN making his debut, and also winning, you know, in hometown type scenario was awesome to see also, so good on him, good performance. Moving on up to Mark Diakiese versus Joel Alvarez. So it's very unfortunate that the clash of heads happened. when it did, because then Joel Alvarez quickly got the finish thereafter with the submission. But I will point out that in the first round, Mark Giacchiese's forehead landed square on Joel Alvarez's nose, and nobody batted a fucking eye. And as soon as I saw that the ref wasn't going to do shit about that, I thought, well, that's going to be what it is, dude. It's a horrible trend that you see among referees, because it's annoying when they let guys get away with too many fence grabs. We saw Herb Dean let, I can't even remember who it was, but get away with so many fucking fence grabs. I think it was Cameron Simon's opponent at UFC 290. But regardless, dude, that can absolutely alter the trajectory of the fight, but it's not damaging to your opponent, literally. You know what I mean? It may be damaging to their game plan if they want to take you down and smash you, but it's not damaging to them physically. Mark Giacchiese, forehead, lands square on Joel Alvarez's fucking nose, okay? These are damaging shots that are not legal. And when refs don't do anything about it, it drives me crazy. I think clash of heads are just as bad as eye pokes, dude. And it's unfortunate that Joel Alvarez's clash of heads definitely landed pretty good on Mark Giacchiese. Right now, it wasn't his fault totally, because Mark Giacchiese was dipping into it also. But, like, if you're not going to call it for the dude in the first round, why are we making a stink about it here in the second round? The commentators didn't even mention it in the first round. And I truly think that it's because Joel Alvarez did not fucking make a fuss about it. He just kind of kept going. But it was a bad clash of heads. They came together. Mark Giacchiese definitely got the better of it. Joel Alvarez just kept going. And then here in the second round, you get Mark Giacchiese get hit. Or maybe it was the third round, sorry. No, round 2. Either way. Gets hit with it and immediately starts like freaking out, but the ref didn't see it, so there was no doing. But then because of the reaction you got from Mark Giacchiese, you all of a sudden got it all over the place. I felt a little less bad for him, only because I saw what happened to Joel Alvarez in the first round, and I saw that the commentary team, the referees, didn't say fucking anything about it. Now, it's unfortunate. It wasn't as bad as like Holland and Dawkins, right, where the guy gets dropped immediately and then finished. Like, Giacchiese wasn't dropped. And if you're like drawing attention to a foul that just happened, I feel like you are probably still there a little bit. And then Joel Alvarez ended up getting him on the ground and submitting him, and it was a good submission. It's unfortunate that the clash of heads happened. It kind of takes away from the performance. But to be fair, Giacchiese looked good in the first round. He was controlling Joel Alvarez on the ground. Joel Alvarez didn't really have a whole lot for him. But then eventually, you saw Mark Giacchiese start to kind of like fade a little bit, right? And it is what it is, man. Good performance, fun fight, moving on up. Danny Roberts versus Johnny Parsons. I picked Johnny Parsons to win. He got the job done. Was the stoppage a little strange? Yes. And a lot of people will complain about an early stoppage, but I don't even think that some of the stoppages that get like touted out as early, I think that if they were stopped a second earlier or later, they would be perfectly fine. But when you stop it at a time when like a guy's moving, it just looks a little fucking strange. Danny Roberts was getting wobbled all over the place, was knocked down twice. He was taking a ton of damage. He was not being intelligent, and I know that it's not the referee's job to say whether or not he's fighting intelligently. It's his job to say if he's defending himself intelligently. But Danny Roberts was just kind of fucking winging hooks back Johnny Parsons' way. Johnny Parsons getting out of the way of most of them and landing big shots in return. Danny Roberts wasn't having a whole lot of success towards the end of that fight there. And while he did for a while, like, that was a fun scrap, very fun scrap, and it got fight of the night, and it should have. I just felt like it would have been more, like, the dude was taking a ton of fucking damage, okay, and he's older. And when you watch a guy get knocked down twice and then wobbled all over the place and have to catch himself from falling and shit like that, eventually the ref's going to see enough, and it is what it is, man. The timing was not perfect. Perhaps they could have let it gone on a little bit into the, you know, and I saw a lot of people complaining online about the fact that there was 2 seconds left in the round. Like, first of all, that's not necessarily the referee's primary focus. He's not trying to, like, save your career. He is in a sense, but not with wins and losses, but he's trying to save you from fucking brain damage. So if there's 2 seconds left in the round, or 20 or 2 minutes, he doesn't care, okay? Because you're taking damage. Now, when I think about shit like that, I think about Donald Cowboy Cerrone versus Jorge Masvidal, and I think that I don't give a fuck if that that knockdown happened at the buzzer in round 1, they probably should have stopped that fight, because Cowboy went out there and got the shit beaten out of him in round 2. It's hard to recover in a minute when you get hurt that badly, and that's what I think of when I think of people complaining about the ref stopping it at 2 seconds. I understand he probably could have let it go, and then maybe Danny Roberts would have recovered, and maybe we would have had a fun third round, but it seemed like every time Parsons connected, it was severely affecting Danny Roberts, and who wants to see an older guy take more damage? It's just not necessary. Good performance by Johnny Parsons. Awesome fight by the both of them. Moving on up to Davey Grant versus Daniel Markos. This is the one that I was gifted, but I'll take it, dude. And the reason I'll fucking take it is because the vast majority of the time when I have a close decision go with one of my picks, I get fucked. That happens more often than not, okay? Daniel Markos and his corner are cringe as fucking all get out, dude. When the decision's being read, I have no fucking idea. They started freaking out when they heard that it was like a split decision and that one judge had scored it for Davey Grant. And I was just thinking, like, all judges probably should have scored it for Davey fucking Grant. Why are you acting like this was a clear-cut win by you? Like, it was just so strange. It was a weird one, man. And then you know what, too? It kind of dispels the fucking hometown judging shit, which we will get to in a couple of fights, because Davey Grant is from the UK and he got fucked and he got robbed, and Daniel Markos sucks. I said not really, like, not literally, but I didn't like the attitude at the end of the fight from him and the corner. And I did say, look, I picked Daniel Markos to win. I also said that I didn't think he would be able to finish Davey Grant because Davey Grant is a tough cat to fight. He is also very awkward, very unique style for a guy who, if I'm not mistaken, was making his debut, or maybe not his debut, but a young fighter in Daniel Markos. And it is what it is, man. It's shitty, because it would have been a great moment for Davey Grant. Maybe he would have even retired. You know what I mean? You get a big win at home, and you're 37 years of age at bantamweight. You know what I mean? It would have been a perfect time to hang it up, but he probably feels like, fuck, I gotta get one. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate. He should have gotten it. It is what it is, dude. Moving on up to Lerone Murphy versus Josh CULIBAO. Now, I picked Lerone Murphy to win. I said that there was a pretty decently strong argument for Josh CULIBAO because he keeps beating guys that he's not really supposed to fucking beat. But I did say that I thought Lerone Murphy would be able to do work at range on the feet, and that if it were to hit the mat, he was well versed enough in the ground to either, you know, not get submitted or to actually have success down there himself. Whereas when Josh CULIBAO fought a guy like Bagdasaryan, there was none of that. You know what I mean? Bagdasaryan had nothing for him on the ground. He got strangled. Josh CULIBAO lost pretty handedly. It was a good performance by Lerone Murphy. Very good performance. Josh CULIBAO is a hard guy to get out of there. He's tough as fucking nails. And so I don't knock Lerone Murphy for not getting him out of there. It was a good fight, good scrap. Yeah, man. Lerone Murphy looked good. He looked very good. He was landing good shots on the feet, and he was dominating on the ground. Total strikes in the fight, 87-40. So, I mean, he more than doubled him. And he more than doubled him on significant strikes also. He got the knockdown, 2 submission attempts, and 3 of 5 takedowns. That was a great performance by Lerone Murphy. Good job. Moving on up to Jai Herbert versus ZIAM. I saw people calling, not a whole lot, but some people calling robbery over this one. No idea how you could call robbery over that. I thought it was pretty fucking clear cut. ZIAM won that fight. It was a little lackluster, if I'm being honest. There were times that I started dozing off, but it is what it is, man. He almost doubled him up on significant strikes. He got takedown and some control time. He outstruck him by 12 in significant strikes throughout the entire fight. I think he outstruck him every single round. I mean, I don't see the controversy. Round 3 was very close, 20-21 in terms of significant strikes in favor of ZIAM. Keep in mind, though, round 2, 15-20 in favor of ZIAM, and round 3, 14-20 in favor of ZIAM. So I don't see any controversy here, and I do believe he was also the only guy that got a takedown, unless he, 1 of 5. So, and Jai Herbert went 0 for 6. So yeah. It is what it is, man. Jai Herbert didn't seem to have a whole lot of issues with, like, his chin. He was able to recover. But yeah, man. when he would get tagged. You know what I mean? We've seen him in the past kind of go down to some big shots before, but it is what it is. Good performance by ZIAM. Wasn't overly impressive, if I'm being brutally honest. But anyways, moving on up to, now we get to the good shit, dude. Paul Craig versus Andre Muniz. Paul Craig proved me wrong. I said I wanted him to fucking win, but I picked against him, and I feel like an asshole for doing so. He looked very sucked in on media day, which is like 3 days before the weigh-in, so I was a little concerned because this was his first time cutting down to 185. Big difference. 20 pounds is a huge difference. He seemingly did it no problems. He goes in there. Andre Muniz, I keep forgetting. I don't know that I'm ever going to fucking pick him moving forward. Dude's got no gas tank, and any hint of adversity is a problem for him. He is not good at dealing with adversity, which is not great if you were going to be a professional fighter. He's also supposed to be like this fucking jiu-jitsu ace, and dudes are just able to manhandle him on the ground. Brandon Allen did it, but I just thought Brandon Allen is very fucking good and very underrated, so I wasn't, too hard on Andre Muniz for that one. Paul Craig, though, also had a very shaky first round, right? Got hit with some shots, got controlled on the ground. Muniz was able to land some damage on the ground, and then the second round starts off. More of the same. Andre Muniz has him on the ground. That fucking headbutt, that was a full-blown headbutt. Like, it was funny, too, because Paul Craig was kind of like, what the fuck? To the ref for standing him up. Like, he didn't understand what had happened, even though it ended up benefiting him. Paul Craig looked much better with his takedowns also. Now, the commentary team did mention it kind of looked like Andre Muniz maybe was just giving up on some of those takedowns because he also would like to grapple. But I don't really think that it's that simple. You know what I mean? He's more of a top pressure guy, whereas Paul Craig wants to be on the bottom. So, I don't know. The takedowns seem to have come a bit easier for Paul Craig this time around. He also seemed a little bit quicker. His timing was a little bit better. But the quickness of his strikes, you could definitely tell the difference between him here at 185 and him at 205. And, while Paul Craig will probably never be a sophisticated striker that, like, sets traps with feints and shit like that, he can improve, and he appeared to have improved a bit here. And then he ended up smashing Andre Muniz, who just curls up and waits for the referee to stop it, you know what I mean? So good on fucking Paul Craig. Great middleweight debut. He's going to be ranked now, which is fucking awesome. Throw him in the mix. He's always fun to watch fight, and never been so happy to get a pick wrong. Oh, except one of the fights up the card a little bit, which we will get to in a second. Next fight, Nathaniel Wood versus Andre Fili. I have no idea how anybody can claim this is a robbery. This is like literally reminding me of the Jack Della Maddalena versus Basel Hafez shit. Like, clear cut 2 rounds to 1. Clear cut. And one of the most annoying things of all time is seeing people on Instagram saying, oh, Wood should have won, but it could have gone either way. It's like, no, if Wood should have won, then it couldn't have gone either way, you fucking muppet. If Wood should have won, then Wood should have fucking won. Or Wood should have won, but unanimous decision is crazy. What? Dude, do you even know what you're saying, you fuck? Why would that ever exit someone's mouth? You're saying you want one of the judges to have gotten it wrong and to disagree with the other 2 judges, as if that does a fucking thing for Andre Fili. I don't understand that. Oh, Wood, the right guy won, but a unanimous is crazy. Like, do they think that unanimous means that the judges said Wood won all fucking 3 rounds, even though they say the scorecards? You know what I mean? It's crazy, dude. I think one of the judges might have given it 30-27 for Nathan. No. I could be fucking crazy. No. That might have been a different fight I was thinking of. But regardless, dude. Rounds 1 and rounds 3 for Nathaniel Wood, clear as day. No question about it, dude. I don't understand people calling that a robbery. And with we saw it with Jack Della Maddalena and Basel Hafez. You've got guys like Jamal Hill, Kamaru Usman, Justin Gaethje, professional fucking fighters whose part of their job to know the goddamn scoring criteria, and they're influencing fans on fucking Twitter. You know what I mean? Like, that's what happens, dude. When you get the commentary team, when you get professional fighters like that who have a social media presence, it influences the fans, and then people have no fucking idea what they're talking about. And then you get Basil Hafez on Ariel Helwani's show saying, if you look at the rule set of MMA, I definitely won that fight. Like, no, you idiot. It's no disrespect, dude, because he came in on short notice and put on a hell of a fucking fight, and seemed like a pretty cool dude overall, but like, no, why would you say that so confidently? Based on the rule set and the scoring criteria, not the fucking rule set of MMA, you 100% lost that fight, and the same thing applies here. Nathaniel Wood almost finished him in the first round, badly. Andre Fili almost finished him in the second round, badly. Round 3, Nathaniel Wood outstruck him by a significant margin. Andre Fili did not do enough to win round 3, and you see Andre Fili fucking throwing up his hands, acting like he should have gotten that win, and that it's all hometown judging and shit. Fuck out of here with that shit, dude. Fuck out of here. That was not a goddamn robbery. Not even close. Easy 2-1 clear cut. Nathaniel Wood, the same way it was an easy 2-1 clear cut for Jack Della Maddalena. Okay, that shit needs to stop. It literally sways the fan base. I can't understand how a fighter could watch a fight that is so clear cut and be like, oh yeah, robbery. Like, fucking shut up, dude. Anyways, moving up to quite possibly the best part about this card. Molly McCann versus Julija Stoliarenko. I picked Molly McCann to win. Never been so happy to get a pick wrong in my fucking life, okay? Molly McCann is garbage, trash, she's horrible. We know that she had problems on the ground, but the thing is also, she didn't even look good on the feet. Stoliarenko went after her immediately. Landed some good straight shots, landed some good leg kicks. All Molly McCann was doing was ducking and coming over the top of the big right hand. Nothing overly technical about it. She was just trying to land a big shot. She looked fucking horrible, dude. And then they hit the ground. She has no clue what to do. Not a clue. Taps immediately like 10 times. Late stoppage by the ref, absolutely. But, bro, come on. Come on. The UFC was teeing you up for a win in a co-main event spot at the O2 fucking arena. You know what I mean? They wanted you to win. They wanted you to win. Another dude, 1 down, 1 to go. You know what I mean? We need Patty to get flatlined now and get humbled. She sucks, dude. She acts so fucking tough and crazy and all this shit and talks so much, and then goes out there and has a performance like that, gets submitted in less than 2 minutes against a girl who out of 20 fights won 10 of them. 10-8-2. 1-5 in the UFC. With a win over Jessica Rose Clark, who loses to everybody. It's not even worth mentioning. Julija Stoliarenko was horrible up until like this was literally a fucking gimme. You know what I mean? And she still got just destroyed easily. Insane to me, bro. Insane. So funny. Also, holy shit, I love that, dude. I love that. I love that so much because then I didn't have to hear her talk the way that I said I was going to have to in the picks and preview, because I thought for sure she would be able to get this one done and that this was a fucking gimme. This was a gift by the UFC to get a big moment at home, co-main event spot, huge eyes on you, like massive amount of eyeballs on you, and you cannot do it, okay? It is what it is. Moving on up to the main event, Tom Aspinall versus Marcin Tybura. What a fucking performance from Tom Aspinall. He was a minus 475 heading into this fight, and goddamn did he fight like it. Like, dude beat the shit out of Marcin Tybura. Marcin Tybura had absolutely nothing for him. I said that Tom Aspinall was too fast. I said he was too good everywhere, and that's exactly what the fuck he was. He weighed more than Marcin Tybura. Do you know what I mean? But, and when he weighed in, honestly, I was like, whoa, that's heavy for Tom Aspinall. I thought he's never weighed that much before. Maybe he's been trying to focus on power a little bit more than his like speed and shit, but his speed didn't seem to be affected by the extra weight. He was extremely quick, extremely crisp, leaves his chin up in the air a little bit, but against a guy like Marcin Tybura, who hasn't finished anybody in a good while, who is also very slow, you know, it's easy to get out of the way of his shots. Tom Aspinall, my god, dude. His head kick was quick, looked absolutely stunning right off the bat. His that elbow that he landed was fucking nasty, and then the combination that he landed right after it without even, like, there was maybe a second in between, you know what I mean? Put him down, beat the fuck out of him, like, brutally, and then, you know, I don't know, it was so fast. I don't even know what, 1 minute, 13 seconds. I don't even know what else to say about it. Tom Aspinall looked great. especially considering he came back from a pretty nasty fucking injury. And there seemed to be no hitch about his knee. Like, the head kick that he threw right away, if there was something wrong with his knee, we would have seen it. You know what I mean? He healed fine. Okay, he healed fine. Now, the call out I thought was a little strange. Only because I could be mistaken, but has Tom Aspinall not already fought fucking Sergey Spivak? I thought, if anything, dude would have called out Sergey Pavlovich. Because why wouldn't you, dude? He has beaten Sergey Spivak, so why would he be calling out the winner of Spivak versus Cyril Gane? He's hoping Cyril Gane wins that fight, but Sergey Spivak may very well do exactly what the fuck John Jones did to Cyril Gane. You know what I mean? So, unless I'm fucking up a fight now. Now I need to check quickly. Hold on. Bear with me. Bear with me. Yeah, he already beat Sergey Spivak handedly. Easily. Like, with very little resistance whatsoever. First round, 2.5 minutes, TKO, elbows and punches. And you're betting on Cyril Gane to win. Call out Pavlovich, man. Because if he went out there and did that, or something to that effect, to Pavlovich, holy shit, dude. And it was almost like a blessing in disguise that Curtis Blades got fucking starched by Pavlovich. Not just for the heavyweight division as a whole, but now Tom Aspinall can be like, I don't want to fucking fight that guy again. Like, he's coming off of a nasty KO loss. Fuck that guy. You know what I mean? Great performance by Tom Aspinall. Like, insanely good. I wish the call-out would have been a bit different. Because you've already fucked up Sergey Spivak. So, wait until to see who wins. Call out Cyril Gane. And if not, take on Pavlovich. Because that would be a hell of a fucking fight. I would be very interested in watching Sergey Pavlovich and Tom Aspinall fight, because Sergey Pavlovich has tons of power and his boxing is very crisp. His takedown defense looked improved. Tom Aspinall's hands are so quick for a heavyweight. The dude's a fucking middleweight, basically. My God, man. Awesome shit. Anyways, dude, that's it for this recap and review. Now we get UFC 291 content for the rest of the fucking week. Let's go, dude. One of the most stacked cards of the year. Hope you guys have a good one. Like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it, dude. I will see you at the next video, which will be tomorrow. Bye-bye.